Hello all, my name is Yossi, and today I would like to discuss the claim that the rabbis changed the Bible. This lesson is dedicated to the memories of my parents, my father and teacher, Avraham Shmuel ben Simcha Bunim, and my mother and teacher, Chana bat Shimon. Before I dig into the material at hand, I'd like to tell you a true story. A few months ago, I decided that I was going to transfer my retirement savings from one retirement fund to another. Naturally, the company that was about to lose my business sent a salesman over to my house, and in order to try and convince me that I should cancel this transfer, and he did the hard sell, showed me some articles, supported his claim that his company ran the better retirement fund. And I was convinced, and after signing the cancellation notice, I asked him to send me copies of those articles that he had shown me. When I carefully examined the headline of one of the articles, I noticed that a word had been whited out. When I looked up the article online, I discovered that what had been erased was the name of the other retirement fund, the one I was going to transfer to, and how that fund was the best fund by far. So needless to say, I canceled my cancellation, and I refused to ever deal with that salesman again. He lied to me in order to accomplish his goal, and to him, lying was a legitimate tactic. Now, I would like for you to ask yourself, what is more important to me, knowing uncomfortable truths or accepting comfortable lies? If you prefer the comfortable lies, I've got no qualms with you. That's fine. Just find another video. Over the years, I've encountered the claim that the rabbis changed the Old Testament in order to obscure passages that clearly point to Jesus or Christian doctrine. The purpose of this claim is twofold. One, to discredit the rabbis, and two, to bolster the importance of the Septuagint, more accurately the LXX, as a translation that is closer to some original Bible that has been lost due primarily to the nefarious manipulations of those ancient wascally rabbis. Well, today we will examine some of the evidence put forward to support this claim. We begin with the fragment that I discussed in my video, Psalm 22, verse 16, the Tanach fragment, proof. The Christian claim is that the rabbis changed the last letter of the word ka'ari, which means like a lion in Hebrew. They claim that the original text didn't say ari, rather ka'aru, and the claim that ka'aru is a unique spelling of the word karu, which means dug or opened, and they morphed this into pierced, which according to them is what is written in the Septuagint, and this they claim is proof positive that the Septuagint LXX is more accurately representative of this original Bible that the rabbis changed in order to make this verse less Jesus-like. Images like this appear in many supposedly scholarly YouTube videos and online articles. If you watch one of these videos or read one of these articles and accepted the conclusion, then you are someone who is more comfortable with lies than with the truth. And why? Because you failed to completely investigate the facts. Here's another image of the fragment. You see, what your scholar didn't tell you was that the letter Yud, as in the final letter of the word ka'ari, like a lion, was often, actually very, very often written with a long tail and looked very much like a vav. This appears 4 times in the fragment. Not only does this phenomenon occur hundreds of times in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it even appears in engravings from the time. This is how things were done. The scholar who presented you with this censored fact, he lied to you, actually twice. The first time he lied when he said that what was actually written in the fragment is pierced, and the second time when he told you that the rabbis changed this letter. Now let's take a look at another example. Here is an image from the YouTube video, KJV Errors, Hebrew Masoretic versus Greek Septuagint. In this video, the scholar attempts to prove that the Septuagint is closer to the original Bible than the Masoretic text is. His purpose is to discredit the Masoretic text, to write it off as inaccurate, and to claim that the Septuagint is the real biblical text heritage. In this case, all we really need to do is invest a few seconds to discover that something is fishy about his claim. Below is an image of the same Wikipedia page that he displayed in his video, except in our case, we don't have to hide the truth from you. All we really have to do is scroll up a few lines to see part of the page that was hidden in the video. Here, the wiki says that about 60% of the biblical scrolls discovered in Qumran were Proto-Masoretic, which means that they are nearly 100% textually identical to the Masoretic text from 1,000 years later. Note bullet 2, which says that only 5% of the biblical scrolls found at Qumran are pre-Septuagint. In other words, the example shown in the colored text is from the smallest minority of scrolls found at Qumran. This information is very important, yet the video's creator evidently didn't think that you deserved to see it. Perhaps he'd like to sell you some retirement insurance? Well, unfortunately, Deuteronomy 32:43, the colorful verse from Wikipedia, only appears once in the scrolls from Qumran, and I checked this out, so we can't really compare it to other fragments. But what we can do is ask ourselves some simple questions. Is it possible that more than one version of a particular text existed? Well, since 60% of the texts from Qumran are Proto-Masoretic and only 5% pre-Septuagint, is it reasonable to conclude that the Septuagint is more representative of some ancient original Bible? Well, how about this one? Did more than one version of the Septuagint exist? Or is it reasonable to conclude that the Septuagint is more representative of some original Bible text based on one solitary text? Now let's answer our own questions. Yes, more than one version of the text existed prior to the 1st century, and one of these versions was the Proto-Masoretic text. The Proto-Masoretic text officially became the accepted version during the 1st century. Older texts, such as the Deuteronomy from Masada, and later texts, such as those from Tanach, are Proto-Masoretic. So this gives credence to the claim that the Masoretic text was also the dominant version prior to the 1st century. And this is borne out by the fact that what the wiki says, that 60% of the texts from Qumran were Masoretic, while only 5 were pre-Septuagint. And this means that for every pre-Septuagint text found in Qumran, 12 Proto-Masoretic texts were found. And oh, by the way, again, texts from Masada, Tanach, Ketef Hinnom, and En Gedi, they're all Proto-Masoretic. See, responsible scholars admit to the consistency and continuity between the text of the Judean desert and the Masoretic text of 1,000 years later. Regarding versions of the Septuagint, well, we know from Origen's Hexapla that there were at least 4 versions floating around, and this was in the 3rd century. Well, who's to say that today's version is the most accurate translation or even accurate at all? So therefore, it's irresponsible to draw the conclusion that the Septuagint better represents some original Bible than does the Masoretic text. The only responsible conclusion would be to say that the Septuagint represents some biblical variant that was rejected in favor of a Masoretic text that existed, once again, before Jesus. In conclusion, the claim that the rabbis changed the biblical text to make it look less Jesus-like is simply slander. It's absurd. From the 2 examples that we saw, the rabbis aren't the ones hiding the facts. Rather, those scholars are. You see, there are plenty of people who have no problem whatsoever lying to you in order to control your soul. Don't let them. Thank you. Kol Tuv, and God bless.